What's up, Vape Fam? Today we're taking a look at the NoPity RDA from NoName mods. The cap on here is not the cap that comes with it. This is the cap that comes with it, just the bottom airflow cap. This is the cloud cap. It is a separate purchase. I'll go over all that later. I've been using it because I like a little bit more airflow. Get that lined up. This has a really interesting deck design. It is technically, I guess, a 4-post deck, and you know, I'll show it to you. It's easier to see than to explain. So let's go in up close for the breakdown to see what makes a vape. Alright guys, here we are up close with the NoPity RDA from NoName mods and the cloud cap. Now I get the packaging mixed up a little bit. That one's the cloud cap. I'll set that aside for a second. This is the packaging it comes in. Slides open. Inside you have your RDA and cap that comes with it. Set that aside for a second. Underneath you have a little goodie bag. And in this goodie bag there's a few things we're going to go over because it's kind of interesting. It comes with 3 different sized Allen keys. It comes with your O-rings, comes with some terminal posts, and it comes with a bottom feeder pin or a Squonk pin. So if you have a Squonk device you can use this on there, and I'll show you how to change it out real quick. It's a little bit different, but it's pretty easy once you've seen it. Then we have the RDA itself. The mouthpiece does screw in. It is threaded. Pretty hefty top cap. Nice threads even on the mouthpiece. The mouthpiece itself is pretty thick, as you can see, pretty substantial. It's nice. I actually like the one from the cloud cap a little better. Let me pull this cap off. Now on the cap you have several different airflow adjustments, slotted, medium-sized holes, and small holes. And there are a ton of different configurations you can run this in, half closed off, fully open, in any of them. Double O-ringed on the inside. I haven't gotten any leaking around it. No juices flowed down. It is a contoured top up in the top cap there, as you can see. Now the deck itself is really interesting. We should do a comparison here between these two caps first though. The cloud cap is very similar except for the fact that it has side airflow holes as well, and instead of the logo for NoName mods on it, it has these swooshy little lines. I don't know what you'd want to call them. I like the look of it. I like this mouthpiece better. It's same thing, screws in, screws out, so you could just swap them in and out. But it's not as thick. The top of the cap is almost identical, but it's not as thick, as you can see there. So if you need a little more airflow, this does not have all the little hole airflow adjustments on it, just the slots. So that and the side airflow, and underneath the packaging are also a couple extra O-rings down in the box. So I have been running the cloud cap on it, and I've been really enjoying that one. The other one's just a little bit too tight for me. So the deck is really interesting. It is technically 4 posts, but it's set up in more of like a 2-post configuration. You see the bottom airflow holes there. There's the airflow inlet. And there was a little bit of machining issue on mine. I think it happened, I talked to them, they said they think it happened also during the hand working at the end for deburr and stuff. There's just a little bit of breakthrough in the holes, and one of them there in the center, I don't know if you'll see it, has that weird little chamfer on that center hole. See it there? Jesus. This deck is actually pretty easy to build on as long as you remember to keep the first coil you put in loose so that the second one can go in easier, because it does go positive, negative, positive, negative. To put the Squonk pin in. Now you have 3 different sized Allen keys here. So one of these keys is for the grub screws on the posts themselves. One is to remove the non-Squonk center pin, and one is to put the Squonk center pin in. So that one is for the screws, the smallest one. The second one you're actually going to put down into the middle of the deck. Since you're going backwards on it, you're going to go and turn it clockwise to the right, and that will pop the center pin out as you unscrew it. Then you're going to take the insulator off of it, put the insulator onto the bottom feeder pin, or the Squonk pin, and you're going to take this large Allen key, and that is how you're going to put the Squonk pin in. And this time from the bottom. And that's how you change out the pins. So to take the standard pin out, you go from the deck side. To put the Squonk pin in, you go from the bottom. I'm going to grab some wire, and I'm going to show you how to put a quick little build in this. Alright, so what I've got here, some 2632 Clapton and some 26 gauge Canthal, and I'm going to do a 5 wrap around a 3mm screwdriver. It should come out somewhere around 0.15, I believe. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to have to do some work on these to keep them tight, but I'll get them in there. I'll show you putting them in, and then I'll have to work the hot spots out of them. Just wanted to show you what I was putting in there. Alright, so we've got our coil, if the camera would focus on it. We've got the legs trimmed down on one side pretty short, a little bit longer on the other, like so. This can be a pain, especially with something like this really springy coil that I've got here. So this might take a minute. Come on. Let me reposition this leg a little. Like so. There we go. Now both wires are coming out the back. You gotta make sure to trim these really, really close to the terminal off the back, because otherwise it's going to come into contact with the cap. I'm going to do what I said not to do, and I'm going to tighten these down, but I'm only going to snug it up just a little bit, just enough to hold it in place so that I don't knock it loose. Like so. And I'm going to go ahead and work the other one in. Actually, I need to get that closer, and then I'll work the other one in. And then I will be back. Alright, got them in, came out to 0.17. Going pretty good. I got a wicket still. I don't recommend, if this is your first time building on this, using parallel coils, just because they're a little springy. Start with like a 22 or 24 gauge Just basic coil, get to know the deck. Other than that, I'm going to wick it up, put the cap back on, and go back up top, and we'll talk about it and vape on it. Alright, it's all wicked up. I'm going to juice it up with some Steep by Steep by New Drips on the Block. In case you don't know, it's like an orange sucker flavor, like an orange dum-dum kind of lollipop. I want to point out too that while I did have issues with the machining on my air hole, and I did talk to them, they offered to replace it like immediately, and I said it wasn't essential because it doesn't interfere with the performance on the dripper, so big kudos to them for being willing to replace it. And the machining on the rest of it is fantastic. It is literally just around those air holes. Alright, so I've got a 120 watts, 4.52 volts, 0.17. And we can put the cap on it. I'm going to run the cloud cap because that's the one I like. And we will go back up top, talk about it, and vape on it a little bit. Alright guys, that was the up close and breakdown with the NoPity RDA. As you saw, the deck is really kind of an interesting design. As long as you keep that first coil loose in there, when you go to put the second one in, you won't have any issues. If you tighten it down, then you got to kind of fight against it to get the second one in through the post. Pros and cons, I find the airflow pretty restrictive on the stock cap, but that's a really subjective thing, I know. It's just those holes are pretty small. So I really like the extra side airflow with the cloud cap. The cloud cap is a separate purchase, like I said, and we'll talk about prices in a second. There is a little bit of machining issue on mine. I guess they hand finish at the end. I contacted them. They said that they would replace it, but it doesn't impact performance at all, so I'm not overly concerned about it. There's just some breakthrough through the sidewalls. There's a little bit of like a, it looks like a chamfer. They probably took like a Dremel to take the burrs off, you know, hand work it at the end. All in all, I mean, this thing has been pretty awesome for flavor, and with the cloud cap, I really think you could get enough density and airflow to comp with it if you wanted to. There's a lot of little extras in the goodie bag. There's some really great flavor. There's some good cloud production. The Delrin cap is interesting that it's a black and a white, and they are very different. I mean, they both, you can screw either one in, but like the diameters are different, the sizes are different, the way it fits in your mouth, the height is different. That was interesting. I like this swirled machining design here on the cloud cap. It's got a really nice finish to it. There's no sharp edges. It was really well deburred, really well machined. Both caps are really well machined. It's just those air holes were the only things I had issues with. The two inner O-rings seals it nice and tight. I haven't had any leaking, any juice getting by it. And then the uniqueness of the deck in and of itself is really interesting. There's no single coil option, but with the way the deck is designed, I don't really see that being much of an issue. You could build one single coil and both airflow holes are still going to hit it because it's right there in the center. Price. So this is kind of a higher end RDA. The RDA with the normal cap sells for, I believe it was right around $120. The cloud cap was right around $20. So it is a little bit pricey, and because of that, I'm going to let you decide whether or not you like it. I've really been enjoying it. The flavor's been fantastic, and I've really been surprised with it considering it's got a cloud cap on it and has a really good vapor production. I mean, 130 watts. It's just an awesome vape, and there's no really intricate coil setup in this really intricate build. It's just a couple basic coils that I put in there, and it's been an awesome vape. With that in mind, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. Like, subscribe, it helps me out. If you have any questions or anything I didn't address, leave it in the comments below. A lot of the features and stuff I go over during the breakdown, so if this felt a little cropped down at the end, that's because there's more in the breakdown. Yeah, so I hope to see you guys again soon. Till then, suck, blow, and keep on vaping.